Good morning, Unity family. How are you and how was your week? Good. We had an event that happened. Well, first of all, did you notice our new quilt when you drove in? Isn't it gorgeous? Every time James and I pull in the parking lot, it's like a burst of sunshine over there. We just love it. So thank you to those that donated toward that quilt project, and a special thank you to Susan who envisioned that and put it together. It's just a lovely quilt this time around, as they all have been. We had an event that happened this week. It actually took place on Friday and Saturday, but it was a week-long effort by many hands. If you had anything to do with the yard sale this week, would you please stand up? All right, I want you to stand up. And I want the rest of us to look around and see these people. And after service, I want you to love on them extra hard. Okay? Thank you so much. The reason I say that is because it was hot out there this week. I didn't even want to go and look around because it was so hot. And these sweet souls were out there, some from 6:30 in the morning until, I don't know, all hours of the night. And so we thank you. And because of those efforts, we are pleased to report that as of right now, with cash and checks in hand, we have made... I thought I was going to get a drum roll. We have made $2,470. What a wonderful number to report. Now today, you can continue to shop the leftover items that are out there, and if you all do real good, we could probably bring that number up to a good round $3,000, huh? I'm just saying. There's still lots of items out there, so immediately following the service, if you'd like to go out there and shop, see what we have left. And the YOU will be having cold drinks for sale to raise money for their rally, so be sure and check that out.
And we appreciate everybody who donated. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Because we couldn't have done it without you.
There was so much good stuff. So I want to let you also know that August the 7th, that's a Monday, at 6:30 via Zoom, we will be doing our quarterly membership orientation. If you have any interest in learning more about Unity, or if you really want to become a member, you say, yes, this place is for me, I'm interested in doing that, then this is the class for you. It's short. We keep it to about 45 minutes to an hour, but we invite you to join us for that. I think that's all I had in the way of announcements. I'm sure someone will help me remember if I didn't get it all. Let's take a breath together. What about the idea of renewal? Do you oftentimes feel like you could just use a little renewal? A renewal in your physical body, a renewal in your spirit? Let us affirm together this affirmation. I am restored by the Spirit of God within me. Together. I am restored by the Spirit of God within me. So whenever we need that feeling of restoration, it's right there, as close as our breath. Renewal is part of the rhythm of daily life. Eating and drinking to nourish and replenish my body, resting to quiet my mind, and sleeping after a day of activity are all ways to renew myself. But sometimes those efforts aren't quite enough to sustain me. At times, when I feel drained at depth, I may need spiritual renewal. God, the one presence and power, is with me always, but it's up to me to keep my awareness of God strong. When I awaken, I say a prayer of blessing for what the day will bring. Throughout the day, I feel God's presence all around me. And when I prepare for sleep, I say a prayer of gratitude for all that the day has brought. In God, I am renewed moment by moment, day by day, breath by breath, right? And Corinthians 4:18 reminds us, 2 Corinthians 4:18, we look not at what can be seen, but at what cannot be seen. For what can be seen is temporary, but what cannot be seen is eternal. Ooh, that's juicy stuff this morning. Yeah, in just a short bit, James and I are going to be bringing forth a discussion about changing the narrative. Ooh, that's going to be good.
What is the National Day of what today? I thought it was very interesting.
Oh, Gorgeous Grandma Day. But it's also Chocolate and Peanut Butter Day.
Did you make that up?
I did not. I did not make that up.
All right. It's good to see you all. How are you today? Let's all stand together. I wonder if you might introduce yourself to 2 or 3 folks and say hello this morning and welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. You are wanted here, so open up your heart. Lay all your fears and all of your doubts aside. Let go of all the hurt you hold inside. You are welcome here. You are welcome here, just the way you are. You are wanted here, so open up your heart. You are worthy of this gift of love right now.
Gift of love right now.
Oh, love right now. I guess we'll do it again.
Love right now.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. You are wanted here, so open up your heart. Well, who'd have known that who you are is enough? And who'd have known that you could be so loved? Well, we knew, and now you know.
You know.
Yes, we knew, and now you know. All right, let's sing it now. You are welcome here, just the way you are. You are wanted here, so open up your heart. One more time. You are welcome here. You're welcome here, just the way you are. Just the way you are. You are wanted here, your heart. All right, before you're seated, tell somebody, say, you are welcome here. And you may be seated. Yeah. We'd like to invite the children to come on down at this time. Come on down, guys. Oh, we have a bunny this morning. It's so cute. Yay. God is, and I am. I create, and I pray, and I act on the truth that I know. God is, and I am. I create, I pray, and I act on the truth that I know.
There is only one God. There is only one
love. All right. All right, we're going to send the kids off to their classes with a blessing. We love you. We bless you. We behold the Christ in you. We appreciate you. And we bless your teachers too. We want to say thank you to Gary and the teens for serving at Ronald McDonald House this past week. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I believe that there are pictures on Facebook that you can look at, right?
Looked like they had a really good time.
Okay, all right. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for that.
Yeah.
For your service, yeah. How many enjoy doing something good for other people? Makes you feel all warm and gooey and, on the inside, right? Yeah, that's what it's all about, doing good for others. How good can you be? How good can you make someone else feel, right? Can you compliment somebody? Can you appreciate somebody? Can you reach out to somebody? Can you let somebody know that you're thinking about them, right? Well, somebody else should, the minister ought to do that. Now, wait a minute.
I think the minister ought to do that.
Yeah. Oh. Here's the thing. The word minister means one who serves. Now look around the room. We're all ministers. In a unity community, we're all ministers. We all share the ministry together. Right? We share together. So it's up to each one of us to do our part, to reach out and to show that we care about people. Smile at somebody at the checkout. You never know. You could get a date. Or you could make somebody's day. You know what I mean? It's good
Speaking
stuff.
of being ministers, being leaders, we have a special event coming up next week. Would you like to speak about that briefly before we get
of course.
started?
This coming Friday, we're doing a leadership training for a five-state area. We've got people flying in from different places to be with us. I think we're right about 80, 85, 90 people right now. And so Friday night will be a service that Blake is going to sing for us. Jeff is going to play for us. Melissa's going to sing for us. And we're going to be doing a discussion about how to share unity with other people, how to share it, how to, share with people. Because, we're living at a time where people have a lot of opinions. And everybody seems to be right in their opinion. Have you noticed that? Well, of course I'm right. And so how do you break through those walls of defensiveness? How do you help people to touch their hearts Because that's the key. How many understand it's not just a mental battle we're doing with each other? You know, politics will not resolve a spiritual need that we all have. And that need is connection. That need is intimacy and openness and listening and those kinds of things. So we're going to be talking about it. And we're going to have fun doing it, if that's okay with you. And then Saturday, Reverend Shad Groverland is coming. He is the president of Unity Worldwide, and he will be with us, and he will share a wonderful presentation from 9 till 4 about, just the focus, what our focus should be as Unity people. And so we're looking forward to that. And then he's going to be sharing with us next Sunday morning as well. So we've got a lot going this week. And we'll be talking more about Marianne Williamson Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. So put that in your hat. And don't forget.
So the UMAS leadership is open to anyone.
Yes.
You are all invited. It's free of charge. UMAS, Unity Ministers of the Mid-Atlantic States, funds this. It's one of the things that James and I, as part of the UMAS team, we do every year. So please, if you're interested in coming, let James know. Email the office at unitygreenville@gmail.com and let us know. We just need to know by tomorrow because we have to make lunch plans for Saturday.
Yeah,
and
if you want
is
lunch,
paid
you need
for.
to reserve your spot.
Yeah, so be sure and take advantage of that. And also, our beautiful flowers this morning are given in honor of all of the July birthdays. Yeah, look at them. Aren't they gorgeous?
From Cheryl and Larry.
From Cheryl and Larry.
Thank
look at
you.
those beautiful sunflowers. I wonder if those sunflowers have a story.
Yeah, they do.
We all
They
have a
something to
say.
say. Yes, we do.
I bet they have a story. Somewhere hidden deep within them, there's a story.
There's, that kind of leads into what we're going to talk
Well,
about.
it does.
What a coincidence.
A coinky dink.
So today we're talking about changing the narrative. If you don't like the stories you're telling, if you've had it with the way that you've been speaking about your life and about other people and about the world, how many know you can change the narrative? You can change your story.
Yeah.
Let's say it together. I can change my story.
I can change my story. Isaiah 43:18 and 19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past." Do not dwell on the past.
Yeah.
And Tony Robbins, you know who Tony Robbins is, said, change your story, change your life. Divorce the story of limitation and marry the story of the truth, and everything changes.
Yeah. So you got to get divorced before you get remarried. You got to divorce. I'm not talking about us.
No,
We just had our anniversary on
anniversary.
Friday.
Yeah.
Absolutely, So, been married for a while.
We've been married for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Have you ever noticed that when you take out your stories, they tend to change each time you tell them?
And we embellish.
Add a little more to the story.
It wasn't just a bad day. It was a really, really bad, awful, terrible day.
Yeah.
Right?
So if we can change the story to be more negative and more outrageous, we could change the story to make it a little less negative, a little less outrageous. Because where does the story exist? Right here in my mind, in the past. It's not even a current story, it's in the past.
So if you're, when you say something, you've already thought it, so it's already a past event. Think about that. It's already in the past. Do you ever feel that you experience the same patterns in your life day after day? Same old,
No.
like a broken record.
No.
Are you telling the same story over and over again about what happened Are you being conscious of the narrative that you tell the world about yourself? Are you being conscious of the narrative that you tell the world about yourself? Think about it. See, you have to consider these things.
Yep.
You have to dwell upon them, and you have to come to an understanding about yourself. Because a lot of times we're out of alignment with life. We're out of alignment. You know, it's like meditation and prayer and affirmation begins to align us with life. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know when you're congruent and when you're not, because you feel it in the inside. Right? You can tell when you're like this. And you can also tell when you're like this. Yeah. How does that feel?
And I think one of the first things that you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to let go of the emotional payoff and the juice that you get out of having a particular story?
Not yet. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah. Because if you're not willing to let go of that emotion, and how many understand there's an emotional payoff that comes when our story is so sad and so bad, right? Being a victim to life, our story.
Well, every
So am I really ready to let go of that?
yeah.
It's a question we need to ask ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we like to squeeze the juice out of what has happened to us. Keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. Oh, this happened and then that happened. And that's why I feel this way. And that's why this is going on. That's,
Why do you think we make it a little worse every time we tell it? Because we told it and we got the juice out of it, but now it needs to be a little bit more so I can feel a little bit worse about it, right? So we embellish it, make it a little worse than it was.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein said the measure of intelligence is the ability to change.
Let's say it together. I'm intelligent. I'm brilliant. You really are. See, don't believe that you're not. Believe that you are. Mm-hmm. Is it that simple, James? Say it with me. Yeah. It can be. It can be. Jimmy Dean of the pork sausage fame said, I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. Jimmy Dean said that. He was a smart guy. You have to be to make millions of dollars selling sausage, right?
And moving along from Jimmy Dean.
Yeah, but you know, what's so interesting about that is you're in the boat. You're in the boat. You're in the boat, right? And you're moving along in your boat, and then it's like you're going to run into something. And you go, oh, what should I do? You shift your sails. You shift, you turn the boat, and you go in a new direction. And that's what we're talking about.
But if I hit the object, then I have a story to tell.
Oh, that's true.
If I like my stories, right? Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude, which kind of feeds into what we were talking about last week. Right? You tend to believe what you tell yourself, especially if you say it, and not just verbally, but even internally. If you say it repeatedly, we start to believe what we tell ourselves, right?
Yeah.
The stories.
2 men visit a Zen master looking for advice. The first man says, I'm thinking of moving to this town. What's it like? The Zen master says, well, how was your old town? It was terrible. Everybody was mean, and I hated it. The Zen master replies, well, this town is much the same. Don't move here. After the first man leaves, the second man enters and says, I'm thinking of moving to this town, too. How is it? And again, the Zen master asks, well, what was your old town like? It was wonderful. Everyone was friendly. We're just looking for a change. And the master replies, this town is very much the same. I think you will like it here. So they, oh, you get it?
All about what we tell ourselves.
That's right.
So the thing about changing your narrative is it doesn't mean that you're lying to yourself. Because see, the narrative exists in the past. It's already done, and we're just telling a story about it. It means questioning whether what you're telling yourself, what you remember that you're relaying in a narrative, is really true. Because how many of you that have siblings know that if you tell a story about something that happened in your family, all the siblings will recall it in a different way? So what's the truth? It depends on the sibling that's telling it, right? What they remember, what's in their mind about it. So just because something happened in the past, for example, doesn't mean that it'll happen the same way in the future. We don't want to predict the future based on the past. Can you see that?
I have a story.
I bet you do.
When I was younger, a little boy, one time my sister and my brother and I, we were at Thanksgiving, right? And we were talking, discussing our childhood. And my sister says to me, remember the time that you busted my lip? I said, no, that was Kenny. She said, no, I'm pretty sure it was you. I said, Kenny, do you remember when you did that? And he said, no, I don't remember that. He said, I think you did it. And then suddenly it dawned on me. I was reading a book about judo. And so I said to my younger sister, Vicky, I said, hey, come here. I want to try this. And so I flipped her over, and her lip was busted. But I didn't remember it until we talked about it, because, see, emotion is what kicks in your thoughts, your memories of the past. There are certain, it's like a song that you grew up listening to that you love, and then all of a sudden you hear it and you go, oh, it takes you all the way back to high school. And you're thinking about, yeah, I remember, oh, yeah, I remember that too. You remember all kinds of stuff, right? So
there are things that I remember in my past that I am just certain happened this way, with this person, with this situation. And then if I think about it in detail enough, I realize, well, it couldn't possibly have been that way because I didn't meet so-and-so until over here, so they couldn't have been here at this. But when I think about that event or whatever, my mind, my memory is pulling from whatever's out there and plugging things into something that's missing.
Yeah.
So if the actor of
You're
who
making
really
stuff
did
up.
that
Yes.
is missing, then my brain is just going to, plop something in there. And so when I think about it, it's like, no, that couldn't have been that way because I didn't even know them then, or, the timeline is wrong or whatever. But every time you think about that situation, there they are in that. But it didn't happen that way. So we have to ask ourselves, what do I really know for sure? Byron Katie's The Work is built on that premises of, what do I know to be true?
Yeah.
What do I absolutely know to be true?
Say it with me. Not very much.
Not very much.
We've made up a lot of stuff, folks. We tell stories about ourselves. We tell stories about each other. We tell stories about, teachers and people in our lives, our parents, and you know what I mean? We make up a lot of stories. And so it's important that we take responsibility for what we say about others, right? It's so important.
And it's expected that we're storytellers because our entire
That's
early
life.
history is built
Yeah.
on relaying stories. That's how things were handed down, by relaying the stories. So naturally, we are storytellers. We use those stories to propel ourselves forward. But we can't use those stories, which are malformed and ill-remembered, as excuses for why we do what we do now, or why we live like we live now, or why we think how we think now.
Yeah.
Because we don't know those stories to be true.
But see, if you got a good excuse, see, you don't have to go to work that day. You know, if you got a good excuse, then people will feel sorry for you. Aw, you poor thing.
Oh, thank you.
It's
tell
rough.
you how bad it
Oh, I know.
It's so bad.
It's really bad. You've got it really bad.
Way back when I was 5, little Johnny stole my cookie.
Yeah.
And it has set me up for a lifetime of having things taken from me.
Don't you feel sorry for her? When we see ourselves only as victims of circumstance, we give away our power. Right? If you see yourself only as a victim. Now, I'm not saying that people have not been victimized. You know, that happens in life, doesn't it?
Yes.
But if you develop a mentality of victimization, and you're constantly coming up with excuses why you can't live your life now, why you can't do this, why you can't do that. See, these are the stories we tell ourselves. No, I'm not the kind of person to do that. Well, why not? Because I've chosen not to be, for whatever reason. You hear what I'm saying? Because it's empowerment when you give yourself the ability to make a new choice. Yes, this did happen to me. I'm not in denial about that. It hurt. It was painful. It was awful. Right? But I'm not going to let that story take over my life anymore. What do you think? And you have to make that choice. You have to decide. Is it worth the juice that you get? Oh, poor thing.
No, thank you.
You know. Is it worth that? Or would you rather stand in your own glory, in your own self-belief and confidence, and stand up and say, no, this has been going on long enough. It's over. It's over. And only you can do that for yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody. Now, people around you can help you, assist you, but only you can make the choice, make the decision to go in a new direction. Right?
You have to refuse to let it define you. The flip side of being a victim is that you could also play the martyr card.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
Sounds like he's had some experience with that.
I do so much.
I know.
And I never get any credit
You poor
for it.
thing. You poor thing.
I never get any credit for all the stuff I do. I write these songs. I show up every Sunday and pour my heart out, and people just go, oh, yeah, there he is. Oh, it's so hard.
He's waiting for his Oscar. See, the martyr is the one that gets
Anybody?
attention from others, right?
Yeah,
For their put upon attitudes.
yes.
They're poor me. It's so hard. Everyone takes advantage of me. Everyone does this. Everyone does that. I just,
But you don't
you're so
understand.
good at it.
The stuff that I experience is way worse than what you've ever experienced.
I know.
My troubles are deeper, stronger, bigger than everybody else's. I mean, they're mean. Right? So nobody has experienced what I've experienced.
How about you consider not letting that define you?
Should I reframe the narrative?
Maybe you should reframe the narrative.
Let's say that together. Reframe the narrative. That means finding power in your own stories so that you can grow and develop and mature. And you're not, and the new stories are a representation of your new life. Okay? They represent your new life. Because how many understand that most truths, that what people think are true, are objective and subjective, or subjective? Say it with me. Oh. Because it's just your version, your slice, your belief, your opinion, your attitude. And let me say, consider this, you could be mistaken. Say it with me. I could be mistaken.
I could be mistaken.
There wasn't too many people saying that.
I could be mistaken.
No, I know I'm right.
So what about when it's a traumatic story?
Yeah.
So when I was around, to the best of my recollection, around 5 years old, I had a very traumatic experience that happened. There are certain things in that were true, that were traumatic. I know to be true, right? So how do I do, and it was the kind of story, it was the kind of traumatic story that was always playing, you know, in the background and affecting, trying to, define who I was today. And when I finally started working with that memory and working to change the narrative of that, it's like, well, the best thing I realized that I could do as an adult me was put myself in the story next to the little me and say, this is not about you. This has nothing to do with you, and you're okay. We're okay. You're going to grow up to be a beautiful person inside and out, and you're going to be okay, and I'm right here with you. That's how I learned to reframe that particular situation. I did it enough that when I think back to that, remembering the scenario, yes, much of the detail, the true stuff is there, but the sting of that thing, the pain and the hurt of that thing is not nearly as traumatic because my mind immediately now goes to me as the adult sitting with the little child, reassuring myself that you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So no matter what the story is, we can still change the narrative of it.
And so my job as her husband is to say, you're okay. You're okay.
Yep.
And to affirm that for her and to say that about her. Now, if I'm always picking at her and telling her that she's not okay, that she's not good, and I've done that in the past, I admit it, right? Pick, because I grew up in a family of pickers. And we picked on each other, We blamed each other. We accused each other. So that's what I knew. So I thought, well, if something's going on in our relationship, it's got to be her. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. And so all I was doing was adding on to that trauma. I was re-traumatizing her. Do you see what we do? Right? And so we've got to get over this. We've got to get over this. Everybody is a complete, unique version of who they are and who they've chosen to be. If you want to be a victim, you can be a victim. If you want to be a martyr, you can be a martyr. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to affirm you. I'm going to speak life into you and confidence into you until maybe you begin to think, maybe I do have something worth it. You know, maybe I am worthy. Maybe I can be better. Maybe I can do better. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you want to do with all the people in your life. You want to affirm them. When you see them going into those roles of victimization and martyrhood and you know, blaming and accusing, you say, okay, that's just what they do. Mm-hmm. And you just have to let it be okay. And then when you can, every once in a while, you score a touchdown by finding something about them that you can encourage them, that you can affirm them, that you can say to them to lift them up, right? Yeah. Wouldn't that be good if we all did that for each other? But first we have to start doing it with ourselves. The stories have been used to hand down learning and knowledge for thousands of years. A good story engages our curiosity, emotion, and imagination. Deepak Chopra says, the secret to personal change is to stop fighting against yourself. Yeah. Effective stories cause us to feel emotions. Emotions heighten our ability to memorize experiences and thus help improve information processing. Stories make it easier for our brains to store data for later retrieval. Mm-hmm. Emotions are a signal to the brain that whatever we are experiencing is important. So if an emotion comes up, you need to feel it. Why do you need to feel it? You need to feel it to heal it. Say that together. I need to feel it to heal it. You tend to believe what you tell yourself. Tell yourself over and over and over. Yep. And when you define something in the positive, you take away the sting of the emotional pain. Mm-hmm. Isn't it amazing? We're the ones stinging ourselves. We do it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. So we need to reformulate, reinvent, review, rename. Things tend to become what you name them and how you think about them. Deal with things on an energy prayerful level first and then take action. Yeah. You need desire. Send energy to what you want. Definition is how you define things, how you reframe it, how you say it. Dedication, what you do to achieve it. And then detachment, no insistence on the outcome. Just going to let it be what it is, right? So how does this all work, Leah? How does this all work?
I'm not getting older. I'm getting wiser.
How do you like that? You like that?
I'm not really broke. I'm learning how to use what I have to make more with gratitude.
Ooh, yeah.
Instead of saying I am lonely, I am learning how to love myself.
Isn't that a good story to tell? Somebody says, well, you live alone. Are you lonely? I say, no, I'm learning how to love myself. I like being with me. Right?
Yeah. I have not failed at anything, but I have started over many times with greater wisdom.
Anybody been there? And it's okay. You just make it okay, right? Just make it okay.
I am not a sinner. I am learning how to use the higher mind and be more creative.
Yeah.
I am not my experience. That is only what happened to me. I am the observer of my experience. I am the hidden self within. I am not my experience. What am I really?
I'm the light of God. I'm the love of God. I am the joy of God expressing as a human being. That's what we are. We're children of divinity, children of the universe.
Yeah.
Now, this is a practice, and we invite you to practice this every day. You catch yourself saying something, and you go, oh, wait a minute. How can I redefine? How can I state that in a new way, in a different way, in a way that is more fulfilling? How can I do that? You know, when I look at my bank account, instead of going, oh, Lord, how can I look at it with gratitude for what I do have, for the work that I do have, for what I can get done? You understand what I'm saying? Because when I do that, then I'm opening myself to the divine mind so that it can give me ideas so that I can add to that account. Mm-hmm. Because if I start thinking limitation, you know, and I catch myself doing it sometimes, right?
Oh yeah, me too, yeah.
It's easy to do.
We all do.
Because there's little grooves in the brain, you know, that we've created, little slots. And we slip over into the dark side. Walk around like a zombie. And then the key is just move it on over. Move it on up to a higher groove, to a higher frequency. Because you are a vibration. You are a vibration. You're a movement within yourself. The atoms in your body are moving constantly. You know, you're recharging, renewing yourself every single day.
And we can start with little things because we tell ourselves stories about everything.
Yeah.
When the car in front of us stops too fast, when they pass us too fast, we have a story
They did it
about
on
that,
purpose.
right?
Trying to cut me off.
We have stories about everything.
Yeah.
Person in front of the line, you know, their credit card doesn't go through. Oh, well, you know. There's a story, right? So there's all kinds of opportunities every day to start with small stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Reframe those.
Start with the small stuff. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
You don't have to tackle those big hairy beasts. Just start with something small, right? But reframe those stories. Whenever you catch yourself going into reframe it, right? Because you don't know anything. What's the truth of that? What do you know to be true? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. When the only thing you know is that the car passed you.
Done.
That's all you know.
You build the energy of empowerment by stringing together positive statements day after day, month after month, year after year. Mm-hmm. See how this works? So a year from now, if you keep working on this, your life will change and go in new directions. All of our lives. Can you imagine what it could be like? So you start by reframing, recreating, you know, what it is that you desire today. Mm-hmm. You got to start today. Yeah, but James, isn't it better if I start next week when, you know?
No.
I'll be more ready then.
No. And we have to be what we talked about last week, resilient. Resilience. Someone said that the founder of Starbucks was turned down. Yeah. Woo, they're visiting us. There's a story there. Ooh, that could be a really good story. anyway, the founder of Starbucks was turned down by 217 of the 242 investors that he initially spoke with. So we have to be resilient. We have to keep moving forward in the path that we know to follow. Be resilient. Colonel
Sanders
Steadfast.
tried to sell his chicken at the gas stations, the little restaurants. And they kept saying, no, we don't want your chicken. What do you think you are, Colonel? He wasn't even really a colonel. And he heard it 1,000 times. Edison coming up with the light bulb. How many times did he have to do it? And you know what he said? He reframed it every time. He said, listen, he said, I've learned 2,000 times how not to create light. Mm-hmm. But you stay with it, right? So how do you get the church to work? How do you get this community, you know, like a well-oiled machine, and everybody's helping each other and loving each other, and everything is just flowing and working together? You stay with it, and you keep affirming the positive. You keep looking toward the good. You keep loving. You keep appreciating. You keep doing all that you can do. And you know what? I believe it works. Right? Yep. It works if you work it.
Yep. It works if you work it.
Okay, is that enough for today? Yeah. We're going to turn down the lights and invite you to just take a moment to breathe, become aware of your breath, and think to yourself, you know, I'm okay. I'm okay. In this moment, right here, right now, it's okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. And you keep telling yourself that. You keep reframing the negative, changing the negative into a positive, until you get good at it. Till you become an expert at doing it. And when you speak about the people in your life, you're just affirming them, loving them, lifting them up, encouraging them. Then you start to notice that people do it back to you. They give it back to you, what you're putting out. This is powerful stuff. You're a powerful being. You have great talent and ability inside you. Creative powers. We can allow them to come forth and to manifest in our lives. I invite you to sit for just a few moments while Jeff plays. And just allow yourself to receive that higher energy, that loving presence of divinity in fresh and new ways. So here we are together. You're on this path. You can choose to go one way or the other. Every time you come to a fork in the road, you have a decision to make. Which way will I go? What will I choose? Will I choose love over fear? Faith over doubt? Peace over discouragement? I'm grateful for this choice, and I take back this power, this divine energy that is within me, and I use it for the positive good to create a life that I love and enjoy, to create a world that works for everybody. These are the choices I make. For I am empowered by the Holy Spirit within me, by the grace of God. And I am grateful. If you know of someone that you'd like to hold in this morning, that you'd like to pray for, I invite you to whisper their names aloud at this time. We send our love and energy to Leon Stencil this morning as he is in the hospital. We surround him with our prayers of love and light and peace, praying for the highest and best, the best outcome for his life and his family. We hold our loved ones now in this time together. We choose to believe in their potential. We see the good that is there. We acknowledge what they're doing for good. And we focus on that. And we send them love and peace and light now, surrounding them with our prayers. Our family, our friends, our co-workers, our neighbors, holding all of these now, here in this moment. We are so grateful for each and every one. We pray for our community. We pray one for another. We pray for our joy and our prosperity, and that everyone is experiencing a life worthy of who they really are. We see ourselves as a light in our particular corner of the world, sharing as we do, following the guidance and the leading of Spirit, knowing that we're here on purpose, we're here for a divine reason, and we're grateful. And so now we pray for our nation and our world. We hold each and every leader for the highest good. For the highest good. May all be well. May all be safe. May all be at peace. So take another moment now and just rest in this time, in this hour. So these things we affirm and we believe. In the name, the nature of the Christ energy, the Christ Spirit of love and peace. And so it is. Amen. Fine. Week after week, month after month. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Even though you're not here, we don't see you physically, we see